Right, come on, you four-eyed fat-faced fool. Tell us what's going to be in the new podcast from the two Mikes.
Well, plenty of buffoonery from you and lots of sense from me. What else?
Look at the light! Champagne all round and put it on my tab. Look at the light! Wah-oo! Wah-oo! Wah-wah! Wah-wah! Wah-oo! Wah-oo! I don't like being portrayed as an idiot.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes, and it's time to say a very good morning to a very happy Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
A very good morning to you, Mike, and what a morning it is as well, from my perspective. One of the reasons I live down on the coast of Portsmouth is to be within sight of HMS Victory.
Is it still there?
It's still there, and of course it was the flagship of one of the greatest ever Britons, Lord Horatio Nelson, or Horatio Lord Nelson to give him his full title. And I feel that Everton have now taken the mantle of the team that is carrying the faith, the honour and the ambition of all British clubs into Europe in a way that has never been done before.
You think they're going to make it past the next round, last 16?
Well, the draw is at midday today.
It is.
So we'll find out in a place called Nyon. Nyon in Switzerland, and we'll find out what's going on there. But I have to say, to be left in the position, in a competition, European competition, where we are the sole representatives of the British Isles, fills my heart with pride, okay?
It's astonishing, isn't it, really, when you look at the league table and you look at Spurs and you look at Liverpool and you think, what on earth is going on?
You've got to understand our responsibilities. Everton, one of the most famous football clubs in the world, the fourth highest succeeding Premier League club in the history of this great game.
Goodison Park, I think, isn't it?
Fourth. Goodison Park, one of the citadels of football around the world and recognised as such, certainly across Europe. And now we take the message onto the continent and beyond. Cry something and let the dogs of war go on, as Joe Royle would have said. And we can be mighty.
Why would Joe Royle have said that?
Because Joe Royle, when he took over Everton, described us as the dogs of war, and we went on to win the FA Cup. And with that sort of attitude, we can be in Warsaw on May the 27th. We can conquer. We're doing it for Everton Football Club and for England and for Britain. And we're the boys to do it. That's how I feel about it.
This has been a party political broadcast on behalf of Everton Football Club.
Well, why not? Because we're there. And by the way, it could well be the only other team in Europe by the end of this round might be Chelsea anyway.
Well, it might well be.
Absolutely.
And in fact, no, that's not even a certainty at this point, is it?
Not a certainty
It's a pretty bad week. I don't want to dampen your excitement
You
here,
can't
but it's been a pretty
awful
week for the Premier League, isn't it?
Well, it's not been good for British clubs, that's for sure.
I know that you don't care about any of the other clubs because you're quite excited, but it does actually ask the serious question: what is wrong with all these teams? Because they don't seem to be able to play in Europe. I mean, Everton are the exception; they play better in Europe than they play in the Premier League.
Everton are an inverse proportion team this season. Yeah. I thought, we might struggle because of the relative lack of European experience in recent seasons, and would the continental-style bang suddenly hit us in the face? Yeah. It's gone completely the other way.
Quite the opposite.
We seem to have emerged from the pressures and the struggle in the Premier League to go into Europe and play with a freedom and a freshness which is doing us nothing but good.
Hard to explain, though, isn't it?
Oh, well, I'm not sure. Maybe Roberto Martinez has a mindset that is, I don't know, maybe a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, cautious in the Premier League than it is in Europe.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, there's some really daft theories around that, well, perhaps Roberto, and this is not an official theory from Everton Football Club, it's what one of mate of mine said. Perhaps
is there such a thing as an official theory?
Well, yeah, of course there is, yeah. This is
what would you describe as an official theory?
Well, something that's coming from inside the club.
Oh,
this is not coming from inside the club.
Right.
But the idea was, I was told by a mate who's been an Everton fan for many years, he got the feeling that perhaps Roberto went gung-ho into Europe at the start of the season, didn't actually want to be in the competition, you see what I mean?
Right.
And therefore,
through caution to the wind.
Yeah, exactly, through caution. Oh, go on, lads, just go and enjoy yourselves, and thought, well, it might be out before Christmas, and then concentrate on the FA Cup and bolstering the league position. But I have no doubt that that's a spurious suggestion. Everton are there on merit. It's great. Oh, Lukaku, the signal. I mean, God, this man's on fire in Europe. A hat-trick in the first leg. Could have had a hat-trick last night, but he was too kind to Kevin Morales when he had his 2 goals up. In my view, he had a perfect opportunity to strike.
Fantastic. It's a fantastic aggregate score as well, really, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. Terrific. Yeah, 7-2, yeah. And he put it in Morales, who fluffed it. And Morales then made up for it with a terrific goal. But the other thing is, in the early part of that game last night, I couldn't understand what was going on.
Why?
Well, because young boys looked like the better team. And when they scored the 1 goal back that came to 4-2, they then smashed the header from the corner against the bar, which would have made it 4-3, with Tim Howard, flailing around and all that. And I thought, my God, we're not going to see a nightmare here, are we? Anyway,
it's all going to go horribly wrong. Yeah, well, it was meant to be a relatively easy game, but it wasn't an easy game. But, I mean, they certainly dispatched them with great lustre. So there's some other pretty good teams still left, though. I mean, I don't think you should assume that Everton are going to make it to the final and then win it.
I tell you what, it'd be great if we got into Milan. I have no fear there. And do you know why? Colin Harvey was one of my favourite players ever.
Right.
And I know Colin, I think I can say I know Colin very well, because I employed his daughter.
Did you?
Melanie, who is an outstanding young journalist, and she worked for me at the Press Association. Now she's become an executive on a national newspaper. But I know him well. But Colin Harvey made his debut for Everton in the San Siro against Inter Milan as a 19-year-old.
And was that in the European Cup, or was that
it was in the...
Cup Winners' Cup, maybe?
No, it was in the European Cup, as it was in 1963-4 season. We won the league in 63.
Right.
And that was Harry Catterick's first honour with us. And I think in a later round of the European Cup, we played in the San Siro against Inter Milan, and Colin Harvey made his debut. So it'd be fitting if we went back there, maybe just to honour one of the great players of our history. But anyway, look, marvellous. We mustn't just dwell on Everton. What did you think about the fact that the round of applause was rather vociferous at Goodison when they heard the news from overseas that Liverpool had missed their 5th penalty?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me that that's the way that...
Well, that's just a bit of local rivalry.
Yeah, of course it's a bit of local rivalry. I'm a bit confused about Liverpool's approach to the game, to be honest. I think Liverpool and Brendan Rodgers kind of had a change of heart sometime over last weekend after they beat Southampton and thought maybe we can get in the top 4 after all.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not sure that's the case. I thought Liverpool put up a good display actually tonight, and of course it was in the city. It wasn't the same ground that they won the European Cup. It was the same ground, was it? Yeah.
Where they also had the penalty shootout.
That's what I'm saying. Where Stevie Gerrard actually took the game by the scruff of the neck, 3-0 down at half time, 3-3 penalty shootout, won it, lifted the Champions League. That was the same ground, was it?
It was, yeah.
I know it was Istanbul, obviously, but I wasn't sure it was the same ground. I've been to Istanbul, been to games there. Amazing city, really. The Blue Lagoon, not the Blue Lagoon, the Blue
Lagoon's in Iceland, isn't it?
Yeah, Blue Lagoon's in Iceland.
Easily confuse the two.
The Blue Mosque. Well, yeah, a mosque and a lagoon in Iceland.
Is there a place where you can actually stand and kind of have one foot in Asia and one foot in Europe?
No, because there's a massive bridge across the Bosphorus, right? But there is a place where I went, and, I told you that one time when I was in Moscow, the KGB tried to recruit me.
Yes, you did tell me that.
Well, actually, there's a place you can go on the other side, so on the Asia side, right? There was a restaurant right up on the top of the mountain there where I took all the boys after we'd finished. It was when England played Turkey to qualify for a World Cup or Champions League finals, can't remember, or European finals, can't remember.
Well, it wouldn't have been the Champions League, would it?
European finals.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. Anyway, point of the story is... Yeah. I met a spy, right?
Did you?
I knew a spy in Istanbul.
A spy for whom?
I wasn't sure who he was spying for, actually, because he's a bit of a shady character, emerging in and out the shadows.
Was this after Moscow or before Moscow?
This was a long time after Moscow.
Oh, was it?
Time after Moscow, yeah. And he said...
So maybe they had their eye on you after your trip to Moscow.
No, I don't think I was that well known. But anyway, what he said to me was all these ships were going up and down the Bosphorus up to the Caspian Sea.
Oh, yeah.
Russian...
Freighters.
Hey?
Freighters?
Freighters, oil tankers,
right.
And even as little as fishing boats. And he said... They're all spy ships. They're all going out from, the Caspian Sea, from Odessa, from the Russian ports, down into the Mediterranean. I think it's the Mediterranean it goes into. Yeah, it is, yeah. And then out around the world spying on the Royal Navy and the US Navy and all that. Fascinating to see.
Did you pass that on to your contacts in naval intelligence?
Well, I made sure people who needed to know knew.
Because it might have been very useful information for
Well, there you go. But anyway, look, we're getting... I digress. We're getting away from football. Marvellous night, really, for English football because we have...
Terrible night for English football. What are you talking about?
No, marvellous night for football at Goodison Park, put it that way.
Yeah, good night for Everton.
And that's my main concern.
That's all you're interested in, really. That is the tragedy. I can can take a wider view, however, and say that it was an awful
You can
night,
take a wider view on anything, Mike.
An
awful
awful
your
week.
size.
It's an awful week for the Premier League.
Your chair's taking a wider view of life since you arrived here.
Calm down. Stop shouting. Look into the light. This is Talk Sport.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk Sport.
As an opportunity as Oysal, the central defender, comes forward for Besiktas. And then there's a huge shot taken in, and it's just wide of the right-hand upright. It's the substitute Arslan who's come on, and a right foot cannon. He collected it on the edge of the centre circle, came forward only 5 or 6 yards, and let go with that right foot. Coca Torre gets the ball in, and it's a shot from distance, and it's hammered into the top corner. Torre plays it in to Demba, and he lays it up to Arslan. But Liverpool had their warning a moment ago with the right foot. Left foot bites the top corner. This boy can strike a football, and more importantly, he has his team back level in the Europa League. Besiktas won, Liverpool won, the warning sign, 72 on the watch. Liverpool have it all to do once again. 3 up on the edge of the 6-yard box. It goes in towards Demba, he hits the crossbar, crashes it. It drops onto his right foot, gets the opportunity, and it comes cannoning away. Ray Hassan said a moment ago, was that the half chance that Demba Ba was going to get this evening? No, it wasn't. This was the opportunity. A minute into added time, he has crashed one off the crossbar. Dejan Lovren to keep Liverpool in the shootout, steps up right-footed, puts it over the crossbar! Dejan Lovren misses the all-important one, the 10th one. Liverpool go out of the Europa League on a penalty shootout in the venue where they won the Champions League on a shootout. This time, it doesn't work out for them.
Liverpool out on penalties, of course. Last night was live on
I
Talk
just
Sport.
don't think our audience were that interested in a team that's a losing team.
Well, I don't think it's going to be all about...
interested in a team that's a winning team.
This is not going to be all about Everton.
Do we know of a winning team this evening?
I suppose you might say Besiktas were a winning team. You might say Fiorentina were a winning team.
Talking about one from these shores, mate.
You might say Inter Milan were a winning team. We're not going to talk about Everton the whole way through.
No, of course not.
I refuse to do it.
Why don't we talk about Chelsea?
Let's talk about Chelsea, the only other team that may be still in European football come the next round of the Champions League. They've done a massive deal with the Yokohama Rubber Company,
Now, this is absolutely amazing. 40 million quid, OK?
Yeah.
Second biggest shirt deal in history.
Right.
Only beaten by Manchester United, 53 million.
Right.
That's with the
Adidas,
car,
isn't it?
No, the car company.
Oh, you mean with Chevrolet?
With Chevrolet.
Right.
Chevrolet, that's right, absolutely. And, for instance, Barcelona can only raise 26 million from their sponsors, who are...
They've got Qatar Airways, haven't they?
That's right, yeah, absolutely.
Mind you, they're spreading themselves quite thinly, Qatar Airways. They're sponsoring loads of people.
Yeah,
but I presume that's partly because the Premier League is now watched in more countries and watched by more people than anybody else.
Now, what I need to ask you, Mike, is this, right? I'm now going to probe something about this deal, which nobody else has thought about except me, right? Because I tend to look at these things from, a much wider perspective. I'm going to ask you this.
OK.
What make are the tyres on your car?
What make are the tyres on my car?
Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 cars. One of them has Goodyear tyres on, and I think the other has Pirelli tyres.
But you're not sure?
I'm sure about the Goodyear ones, but I'm not sure about the Pirelli ones.
How come you're sure about the Goodyear ones?
I know about those because I bought them.
Right, you bought them. That's fine. That's OK. That's good. Right. But you're not sure about the other one because you haven't put new tyres on there.
I haven't yet.
No, OK. Right. I'll tell you, I haven't got a clue who makes the tyres on my Mercedes. I haven't got a clue. Don't know, right?
You never noticed the wording when you look at the outside of the car?
No, I don't go around studying tyres.
Right.
It's not something
What about
I do.
when you used to get all those kind of weird things happening to the car when you were hitting bottles and things and you had to get the tyres fixed? Did you not notice then?
I had 2 tyres fixed in the first month, right?
Yeah.
And I went to Quick Fit. There's nothing quicker than a Quick Fit fitter, and they were very good, very good. And
but they didn't actually replace the tyres, as I remember.
No, they repaired both tyres.
Right.
They repaired them, and it was very good. They'd take them off, and they get inside the tyre.
Well, surely when you
put a
took the
plug
tyre off and you watched what they were doing, at some point you noticed what the wording was.
I just don't have any interest in the make of tyres. It doesn't excite me at all.
Right.
Now, what I'm saying is, this lot have spent 40 million quid, OK? What are they called? The Fukuyama...
Yokohama.
Yokohama, yeah. Yokohama Rubber, right? And they make car tyres, amongst other rubber things, OK? Now, Also, isn't one of the sponsors for the Champions League Firestone tyres?
I'm not sure if it is.
Is it Firestone or... Hang on, I'm looking...
Well, certainly Gazprom are.
No, Gazprom's a gas company.
I know.
There's a tyre company that sponsors them, definitely.
Well, Firestone are a tyre company. I don't know whether they sponsor the Champions League.
I don't even know if it is Firestone, but I'll find out. I'll find out and come back to you on that one. The point I'm making is this. When you go into Quick Fit... It's nothing quicker than Quick Fit fitter.
You've said that.
And I know that, yeah. And you say, I want a new tyre, please. Yeah. You don't say, but I want it to be a Goodyear, or I want it to be a Firestone, or I want it, in this case, to be a Yokohama rubber tyre.
Well, you do sometimes. Right? What you would normally say is if you want new tyres on your car, you want the same tyres that were on it already.
Yeah, but I don't know what tyres are on it already, so it's not my choice.
Well, you should know that.
No, it's not my choice. So what I'm saying is, I can't influence the sale of Yokohama rubber tyres in this country by going into Quick Fit. There's nothing quicker than a Quick Fitter.
You've said that three times now.
And saying, I want tyres, but I want Yokohama rubber tyres.
Right.
Because I bet you there aren't Yokohama rubber tyres on my car.
Maybe that's not why they've decided to sponsor the shirts.
Of course it is. They want to sell more tyres.
No, I don't think that's true.
But in this country, what I'm saying is brand loyalty to tyres on your car is zilch.
Right.
It's non-existent.
But that's not why people sponsor...
Yeah, but their influence over the tyre market in this country is, in my view, as somebody who knows something about marketing and sales, insignificant.
Well, you don't know very much about marketing and sales, obviously, because what I think they're doing it for is to get some kind of connection with the Premier League, with Chelsea, with a massive football club, with a massive football organisation. Not necessarily to sell more tyres,
what else
but to bring perhaps Premier League football into Japan, perhaps to raise the profile of Premier League football in Japan, perhaps to get some kind of influence with Chelsea to say, maybe when you come on a pre-season tour, you could think about coming to Japan. And then they're associated with a winning football club from this country. And you haven't thought of that, because I can see your mind is now racing, trying to catch up with me. No. But I think that's much more likely.
Why would one individual, private company take it on itself?
It's not a private company.
It is.
It's not. It's publicly quoted on the stock exchange.
Okay, sorry, that's what I meant. I meant one individual company which is not attached to the government. So it's not a public company in the sense that it's not a nationalised company,
well,
right?
No, it's a public company. It's based in Tokyo, but it is also quoted on the stock exchange.
But what I'm saying is, why would they spend 40 million quid to make it their responsibility to try and influence more Premier League teams in this country to spend money in Japan or go there and play games there? Why?
Because it's not
Where
necessarily...
are the answers? Where are the answers?
Well, I'm going to give you the answers. It's not necessarily...
You haven't got the answers.
I have. It's not necessarily about selling things.
Every time you've got answers which you mess around with and gerrymander during the quiz, which is coming up at the end of this show.
I've got 10 questions for you on the city of Chester, which we'll get to later on.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, as you know, some of the bigger companies, when they advertise with TV companies, when they advertise on shirts at football clubs, it's not about trying to sell more product. It's just about getting a name out there. It's about name recognition. And also, because it's mostly tax deductible, it's something they do in order to gain access to the upper echelons of the football world. And that's probably why they're doing it.
People in Japan have got every right to say we're paying too much for our tyres here if Yokohama Rubber can afford to spend 40 million quid.
You're looking at this whole situation like a sort of a corner.
You're looking at a team we've never heard of in England.
No, but you're looking at it all like a kind of corner shop scenario, which it isn't. I mean, nobody in Japan is going to buy more tyres from Yokohama just because they're associated with Chelsea. However, they might like Yokohama as a company much more because they're associated.
It's a point of sponsorship then. It's a point of sponsorship.
Well, everything is. I mean, do you think people are buying more Chevrolets because Man United are sponsored by them?
Of course I do.
I don't think so.
Oh, of course I do. I believe that they will, because that very distinctive gold sort of Chevrolet emblem, what's it called, logo, is on the front of the United shirt, and therefore that is a recognised product, a Chevrolet car. So when you're crossing the road and on a zebra crossing and the car that's just stopped to your right, and you look at it and you see that gold emblem logo of a Chevrolet car, you say,
I must go and buy one.
Well, you say, that's a Chevrolet, that's the one United sponsor. Yeah. It puts it in your head.
So you're making the same argument about Yokohama then?
No, I'm not, because when that car stops and you're crossing the road on the zebra crossing...
Zebra crossing.
And by the way, I think they should be got rid of zebra crossings.
Zebra crossings?
They're a damn nuisance to motorists. If zebra crossings were taken out of the the traffic equation in this country, the economy would go up by 1%.
Well, zebra crossings are
cars stop far too often at zebra crossings when nobody's going across them.
Well, they're not designed
Sometimes
for
when
cars.
I go home at night, at say 5 o'clock in the morning, I actually have to stop at one of these zebra crossings, zebra crossings, with the lights flashing, but nobody's walking across it.
talking about a pelican crossing,
A pelican crossing where the lights are set to flash all the time.
You're talking about
all the time.
Pelican crossings are completely different.
Well, they're still zebra crossings, aren't they?
No, they're pelican crossings. That's why they're called pelican crossings.
They've got black and whites in them. They're like a zebra, so therefore they're part of the zebra family of crossings.
Zebra. I thought you were describing the flashing lights that go from red to flashing orange.
Yes, that's what.
That's a pelican crossing.
Well, what do you think is on the road? A sort of a green and yellow crossing, is it?
No, normally
it's a zebra crossing, you fool.
No, a zebra crossing is black and white. A zebra crossing doesn't have traffic lights. That's a pelican crossing.
Yeah, but the pelican crossing that's got the lights flashing also has the black and white across the road, does it not?
Not normally, no.
Yes, it does, you fool.
I think you're wrong about that.
You don't need to.
I think you're stopping in all the wrong places.
Let me get back to the original alliteration, alliteration, the original example I was giving you.
Uh-huh.
So you're walking across your zebra crossing, you look to the car to the right, you wave and say thank you for stopping, it's a kind gesture.
Yes.
You see the Chevrolet badge on the front. You don't then say to your mate who's with you, because you've just come out the pub after 7 pints, you don't say...
Not everybody's just come out the pub after 7 pints.
You might say, oh, look, that's a Chevrolet. That's the car that sponsors Manchester United. You might say that. What you don't say is, oh, that's a Chevrolet... And, by the way, it looks like it's got Yokohama rubber tyres on the wheels that sponsor Chelsea. You wouldn't say that, would you?
You probably wouldn't, no.
Of course you wouldn't. So what's the point of the sponsorship?
Well,
this is the whole point I'm making. You've just absolutely endorsed what I've said.
Who sponsors Everton?
Who sponsors Everton?
Yes.
At the moment, it is a Thai beer.
Right, so what does that do for them?
Well, they sell loads of beer around this country because of it.
What, because of Everton?
Yeah, because of it, yeah.
What, so people go into a bar and go, oh, I think I'll buy some beer because it's on the front of an Everton shirt?
It's more subliminal than that.
Yes.
And what it is they go into a bar and they see all the racks of beer in the cabinets behind the bar.
Right.
Because, bottled beer is very big in this country now. Young men tend to drink it. So in the old days, you'd have asked for one of them German ones. What are they called?
What, Heineken?
No, it's Danish, isn't it? What's the German one called?
Beck's.
Beck's. You'd ask for a Beck's or a Heineken. But then they introduced all those Mexican ones, where they stuck a bit of lime in the neck to make you look trendy. I nearly choked on one of those ones.
Did you?
I didn't realise the lime was in the top of the neck of the bottle.
You're supposed to push it into the bottle.
Well, somebody did push it in, and I threw it back down my throat, and the lime went down and caught in my esophagus.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, yeah, I nearly died. But anyway, the point of the story is... That's now joined by racks of beer from all over the world,
right,
including the Everton beer.
Of course.
Right? And so you
but
say...
your subliminal argument works
so you're aware of it.
Surely it works for the rubber company as well as it works for everybody else.
It can't possibly. Because what I'm saying is, literally, you don't drive into your local tyre shop, could be called...
That's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be called quicker.
Don't say it.
And say, I want tyres for my new car.
You've seen the time, by the way.
Don't even worry about the time, worry about the tyre. And you don't say, I want a Yokohama rubber tyre because I'm not having anything else. I don't want a Firestone. I don't want a Michelin. I don't want a, whatever the other ones are called. I want a Yokohama rubber tyre. You just wouldn't say that.
Well, it might happen in the future. You never know.
It won't happen. It'll never happen.
Look into the light for a moment. He's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham.
I know about subliminal advertising.
Yeah, I know you do, but you don't seem to be very consistent with the thought of it all. We've got loads more to do coming up next. This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the Two Mikes. Got lots of tweets and texts coming in. You can follow us, of course, at the Two Mikes, at Mike Parry, at IROMG. Luke says, I'm surprised an iron ore company didn't sponsor Chelsea. Mike Parry would be very happy. And Talk Crick says, shameful, grubby product endorsing from Mr. Parry. He's got the begging bowl out. Obviously needs new tyres.
No, you've got to know me to understand that. Don't you understand that because I like a song and a dance and all that, the company I was talking about...
A song and a dance and all that.
Yeah, the company I was talking about that changed the tyres.
Yes.
They had that little ditty, didn't they?
Yes,
where
they
all
did.
their guys...
Don't say it again, though. You've done it 3 times
already.
Dancing
around with their elbows and their spanners and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, incidentally, by the way, you should have picked me up on this and you didn't. The company the tyre company that's involved with the Champions League is Bridgestone, right?
It is, OK.
I asked you about that famous story about you being with your father-in-law when you first met him, and he said, oh, come and see me at work. When you got there, he'd been made redundant, which wasn't... Which tyre company was that?
I think it was Pirelli.
I think it was Pirelli,
but he wasn't actually in the tyre business. He was in the industrial rubber business.
Well, sure.
What his job was to sell all those kind of rubber cables that they used to put down the side of the New Jersey Turnpike.
As you told me, but still a rubber company.
And they did make tyres,
redundant on the day that you went to see him.
I think he used to get free tyres, actually, for his car.
Oh, right, OK. That was rather embarrassing, wasn't it? Now,
very embarrassing. Here's one from Darryl who says, Porky hasn't got a clue what he's going on about. And when you correct him, he shouts and doesn't let you explain.
No. I know exactly what's going on.
Do you?
I mean, I've got a load of people here. Listen to this one here. Here we go. Yes, right. This is from Beanie Tony.
Oh, yeah.
He says, wow, for the first time in my life, I agree with Mike Parry. When I buy new tyres, ask for the cheapest tyres. I haven't got a clue what make they are, and neither do I care.
So that's what you do, is it? Ask for the cheapest ones?
No, I don't.
You ask for the most expensive ones, right?
No, I don't. I say, give me tyres for this car. And if they match up with the other tyres, that's fine. If they don't, they don't.
Well, a couple of people are worried about your driving habits. Paul in Luton says, is he safe to be driving if he hasn't noticed that Pelican crossings don't have black and white stripes on the road? It's just incredible.
What?
Since you don't actually seem to know the difference between a zebra crossing and a pelican crossing.
I know the difference. And Bill here, he chastises me and he says, what an idiot Porky is. Road deaths will go up 10% if you abolish zebra crossings.
Zebra.
You're a half-wit. Kids and the elderly use them.
Quite right, too.
Look, it's all right having them in certain places, but do you need them in the middle of the night?
Yeah, of course you do.
No, you don't. When the lights are flashing and say stop, it's mad. It's mad.
Well, the lights don't flash and say stop. If the lights are flashing orange, it doesn't mean you have to stop, does it? Do you not know the highway
code? But they go to red. They go to red.
Well,
Mike,
that's a red light then.
They go to red, honestly.
You have to stop at red lights.
There's one here which says, Mike, that's me, Parry, who is sponsoring the other Mike's spare tyre.
Very good.
That. I like that. I love things like that, don't you? And the other thing I was going to tell you about a Pirelli tyre, actually. Bit of a distasteful story.
Really?
But nevertheless, you're always going on at me about married women and all that kind of stuff. I met a lady once when I was a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a bit of a fling and all that, you know. And
she was married?
Well, no, she wasn't. She was a student. And so was I. We were actually trainee journalists, both trainee journalists. But she did have a boyfriend back in Blackburn, OK? And she...
Did you ever go out with anyone who didn't already have a boyfriend? Or wasn't already in some kind of relationship?
Well, I'm not sure, really. I mean, I'd have to delve through the old, memory file. But this is a great story because she went back after the training course. It was a 6-month training course up in Newcastle. And she confessed to her boyfriend, right...
So she felt guilty?
She felt guilty. And, well, also, I'd said that I didn't want to take the relationship on once we'd gone back.
Is this the woman that you used to get the shorthand test?
No.
There's another one?
This is another one. That was the girl from Port Patrick.
Okay.
This girl was from Blackburn and worked on the Lancashire Evening Telegraph, right? And I went back to the Chester Chronicle. And anyway, she went back, and her boyfriend, who's 2 years older and had just graduated from university...
Yeah.
She held her hands up and said, look, I'm sorry, I don't mind if you leave me and all that. And he said he'd forgive her. So he forgave her, right? No joke. But he always, in his head, always had this burning hatred for a man called Mike Parry.
Yeah, a lot of people have.
Who had cuckolded him by having an affair with his girlfriend on this course.
And then savagely just kind of dropping her because the course was over.
Anyway, you won't believe this, Mike. 28 years later, I got a phone call from her.
Really?
She had 2 sons. She'd married the bloke.
Right.
She'd married the bloke, right? And they'd set up home and all that. And he'd done extremely well because he was an executive with Pirelli.
Yeah.
And they'd moved to France and lived there for 7 years while he was in charge of Pirelli in France. It was a big job and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, she rings me up out of the blue, and she got my number from mutual friends in the journalistic community and all this. Her 2 sons had just gone off to university. They were, 19 and 18 or something like that.
She wanted you to help them out?
No. Well, I got her assigned Manchester United football for them because they're Manchester United fans.
That's very nice of them.
But she wanted a meeting with me, and I said, yeah, OK, fine. No. She came to London.
How long ago was this?
About 5 years ago.
Kept it very quiet.
Well,
you never told this story before.
Well, no, I haven't actually. I haven't because I didn't want to, embarrass the poor lady or anything like that. But nobody knows who she is.
No, it's okay, right?
So we have a meeting in London, and we go to Joe Allen in Covent Garden.
Yeah.
She then instantly falls in love with me all over again.
Of course.
Rings up her husband.
Why wouldn't she?
Rings up her husband. This is no joke, and says, "I'm awfully sorry. I'm not coming home tonight. I've met Mike Parry in London, and I'm staying with him."
How bizarre.
And she did.
Really?
Yeah. So this poor guy who'd been harbouring this hatred for me for 28 years...
I'd be looking over my shoulder if I were you.
Exactly, yeah. Suddenly hated me all over again. Well, the next morning I said, look, this is mad. I mean, we'd all had a lot to drink that afternoon, you know what I mean? I think her decision to decide to stay in London may have been prompted by inebriation, maybe.
The fact that she was comatose.
Well, I wouldn't say she's comatose, no. But anyway, she went home and then she wanted to come and see me again. They'd done very well, this guy, to the extent where she had a top-of-the-range BMW sports car. And she was going to whiz down...
It's all about sort of, props for you, isn't it? It's all about, the most ridiculous kind of, chattels.
But she was going to whiz down from... By that time, she was living in somewhere like Staffordshire or something like that, She was going to whiz down the M6 and the M1 from her 7-bedroom home in Staffordshire in the old BMW sports car and, reignite the relationship again.
Right.
But because I'm a decent chap...
So you dumped her again?
No, because I'm a decent chap. I said, look, I don't think we should, And, she begged, I can do it. And, I'm told her I'm going somewhere else at the weekend. And I said, I can't do it. I can't do it to the boy. I did it 28 years ago and I can't do it again. And that was it. But anyway, the only reason I told you that story was he...
So you could get a plug-in for Pirelli.
No, but he made his way in life. Now, anyway, listen...
I thought you were going to tell me about this new hair colour thing.
Well, I'm going to tell you about it.
You see, you've really run out of time again.
No, we haven't run out of time.
No,
don't
we
worry.
really have.
No, the grey is now the in colour.
Yeah.
And do you know why?
Grey is the in colour for women.
No, grey's the in colour for men and women because the grey pound now is the most powerful form of currency in business.
Right.
You know that pensioners today are one of the richest parts of the economy because there's more of them, many more of them. Like in our day, when we were little kids, our grannies and grandfathers were struggling along on a pension. More than 50% of pensioners these days have got private pensions on top of the state pension and accumulated wealth, because of the good years.
Yes.
We've all had good years. We used to buy houses for £18,000, which are now worth like £500,000 and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously you missed out on that because you had so many divorces and behaved so despicably in your marriage, you had to divest yourself of
I did
your
what
property.
a lot of people do, which is actually have a family as opposed to keeping all the money to myself.
Yeah, well,
I thought this was about hair.
Yeah, well, it is about hair. What I'm saying is the hair colour now, which is the in vogue, which everybody goes after, advertisers, and to which people are turning to, is grey. Grey hair now is the thing, OK? And if you've got grey hair, you are one of the chosen few.
Well, what if you've got no hair?
Well, I feel sorry for people
who've got no hair.
No,
but do you think people actually are taken less seriously if they haven't got any hair?
Well, no.
Or if they've got less hair.
No,
or if they're going bald.
Lots of people shave their hair off anyway, don't they? And that's a terrible mistake.
Yeah, but lots of people are now actually implanting their hair as well. Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney's hair now actually looks better than any hair that anybody else has ever had.
It certainly does. Grey is the new colour. I've got the report here, OK? Women over 60 are now more interested in style than ever, and they're more interested than ever in not having their hair rinsed. We don't live in such a youth-based culture as we did 50 years ago. The internet is where people get their fashion information from now, and grey has become the colour. We're seeing all manner of different cultures and values, but grey is at the centre of a new revolution for the 40s, the 50s and the 60s.
So when are you going to colour your hair grey then?
My hair is grey.
No, it's white.
It's not, it's grey.
It's white.
It can't be white.
It is white.
It can't be white. If it was white, it would look the opposite of black, and it doesn't.
Well, it doesn't look grey.
It's grey. It is grey.
So you're not going to dye it red anymore anyway, because you had that period where you dyed it red, didn't you?
That was because of my television career.
Yes.
And I decided
looked
that...
ridiculous.
No, it didn't look ridiculous.
It did.
No, it blended better with the background of the studio I was working in at the time.
Oh, OK.
But I've now decided to go au natural.
I'm sure somebody could find a picture of you with that red hair and send it in at the Two Mics and we'll retweet it out. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
10 more minutes and against the crossword's nearly done. It's getting so hard these days, not nearly so much fun. His mind wanders through the office, his telephone desk and chair. He's been happy with the company, they've treated him real fair. Think of 7 letters begin.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the Two Mics. He's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. There will be another podcast coming out the 4th of the week, of course, around about 9 o'clock in the morning. Look for the link on the Two Mics Twitter feed, of course, which is at the Two Mics. Yep. And we'll be reading out some more tweets very, very shortly. You know what that song was, of course, don't you?
Was that Madness?
It was Madness.
Yeah, that's right.
Cardiac Arrest is the name of the song.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Madness
Nothing
and Cardiac
personal.
Arrest. No, not personal. But that's very appropriate because, look, I have to take note of the health manuals.
Of course.
All the time.
Yeah.
Because...
Constantly referring to them, I imagine.
Well, thing is, Mike, only 1/3 of my heart works, OK?
Yeah. Is that right?
And so being in a critical situation like that, I keep note of all.
Is there any
all
way that they could ever improve that situation? Could they ever make more than 1/3 of your heart work, for example?
Do you know what? 10 days ago, I read a report about a new gel that can be injected into the heart muscle to improve it. I always knew this would happen. I mean, I always knew 10 years ago when I was told, you have critical heart failure. Yeah. Most people would be dead by now, except for your fortitude, your stamina, your will to win, your desire to live a life and all that kind of stuff.
And your constant craving for more information and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I always knew that before my life was up, somebody would find a magic pill or a magic injection or stem cell therapies or something like that to improve my heart, and I think it's just round the corner. But anyway, when searching for all this, I came across the next most threatening illness, which is hitting men of your age and my age, and it's hypochondria.
Yes.
But it's not just...
Well, you talk an awful lot about your health. I don't, you'd have to say.
I don't worry about my health.
No, but you talk about it all the time.
If I drop dead tomorrow... It wouldn't concern me, honestly.
Well, it wouldn't if you were dead, obviously.
Well, I mean, dead is good for the dead, isn't it?
What you're saying is you don't worry about it.
I don't worry about dropping dead at all. Once you're dead, I don't know why people worry about dying.
Yeah, but you do worry a lot about what's wrong with you. You do come in here saying you've got some flu. You told me that even though you got the flu jab, which means you must be a bit of a hypochondriac.
Yeah, but that's because the flu jab could kill me, so I don't necessarily want to die. Hey? I'm just saying that if it happens by accident, it ain't going to bother me.
The flu jab could kill you?
No, without the flu jab, I could die because of the virus could get me in the heart. But you said you
got the flu anyway, didn't you? Like 98% of people who also got the flu jab.
3 times. Yeah. So that flu jab's not too good.
I don't think you really had the flu, though, because if you really do have the flu, you can't actually work. You can't do anything. You just lie there.
I can battle through it.
No, you can't.
Oh, I can.
That's not flu.
Let me tell you about hypochondria, because it's important,
Go on.
right? It's not just the hypochondria which is causing immense distress to people of our sort of generation.
Right.
And it's the fastest growing disease amongst men of our age.
Well, hypochondria is not really a disease, is it?
It is. I'm about to tell you.
Isn't it a condition?
Well, it's a condition and a disease, because I tell you where the condition turns into a disease.
Go on.
It's meta-hypochondriasis.
Is it?
Do you know what meta-hypochondriasis is?
No, I've no idea.
The fear of being a hypochondriac.
Right. So you become you have a phobia of being a hypochondriac.
You have a phobia about becoming a
hypochondriac. It's like double jeopardy.
Here, listen, let me read this from this health manual. This gives rise to the possibility of meta-hypochondriasis. IASIS. Sorry. IASIS. No, I'll spell it to you.
It's just adding a load of things onto the word.
No, it's hypochondriasis. Right?
Yeah.
And that's a patient might start to worry whether his worries about his health constitute a mental illness anxiety disorder.
Well, presumably if you've got, if you're a hypochondriac to begin with, which means that you worry all the time about your health, then you might worry about the fact that you're a hypochondriac.
But then
that kind of follows, doesn't it?
But if you're not a hypochondriac, you might start worrying about becoming a hypochondriac.
No, you wouldn't.
Let me just finish.
I think there are 2 kinds of people in the world, ones who worry about it and ones who don't.
Let me just go. This leads to health-constituted illness centred around an anxiety disorder, thus starting an infinite regress of diagnosis. Nor need the sufferer from this disorder actually be well in the sense of having nothing wrong. All that's necessary, all that's necessary is that his concerns be deemed excessive or disproportionate by his doctor.
Why are you just reading out a bit of the text which makes no sense out of context? You need to put it into context.
I'm putting it into context.
No, you just read something.
This is from a health manual which tells you if you are concerned how you recognise the symptoms of meta-hypochondriasis. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're laughing at.
Well,
at least
I don't think you should be concerned
things.
about it. I don't think. Well, what is the effect this is having on the nation's health then, as far as you're concerned?
People take
what does your health manual say?
Well, people take to their bed and all sorts of things,
right.
and then can't see. Here, the hypochondriac is not assuaged by statistics that show his generation is the healthiest that's ever lived, or that death does not lurk in every food and every product and every situation.
Well, you're a bit like that, though, aren't you? I mean, not necessarily about yourself, but you're always issuing these ridiculous warnings about why, children shouldn't eat this, or why you shouldn't drink that, or why you shouldn't sleep too much. I mean, you're always issuing these kind of, bizarre warnings that things are going to be terrible if you do this.
I'm very aware of things. It goes on to say, in the absence of a transcendent purpose in life, staving off death becomes all important. Hypochondriasis then is in part a religious or philosophical problem.
Well, do you know anyone like this?
Well, I don't personally, but it's obviously happening. Why otherwise are doctors publishing papers about
doctors publishing papers on all sorts of things, aren't they? They're always publishing
trying to cure hypochondria.
Well, you can't really cure it.
Well, I don't know if you can. I think you'd be better off going to see a shrink rather than sort of a medical doctor if you've got this condition, yeah?
I think so, yeah. Well, there are people who worry about their health more than other people, and I think that's just a way of things, isn't it?
There's not a healthy man alive, and never has been, at any rate, not since pre-lapsarian times.
What is this nonsense you're reading?
Well, it means we've all got some sort of health problem every day of the week.
Well, I'm sure that's true.
Every day of the week.
What is this health manual, anyway? Is it like sort of the yellow pages you've got?
No. This is all put together from places like what's that one in America called? New England Journal of Health, is it?
New England Journal of Medicine.
New England Journal of Medicine and all this kind of stuff, yeah?
Why do you read all this stuff, though? Because, see, you've got an unfortunate and rather unusual fascination with these things, not unsurprisingly, because of the state of your own body.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, but you're right.
You didn't listen to that, did you?
I did listen
to it.
No,
you didn't. You did that thing.
You called me obsessive and all that.
Well, no, but you're obsessed with your health quite naturally because you nearly died.
Well, yeah, I've got to make sure it doesn't reoccur. Now, look what it says here. Patients manifest persistent somatic complaints.
What's that?
Well, I'm not going into that.
You don't know, do you?
Patients manifest persistent somatic complaints or a persistent preoccupation with their physical appearance, normal or commonplace sensations and appearances are often interpreted by patients as abnormal and distressing, and attention is usually only focused upon one or two organs or systems of the body.
Right.
So they think they've got, like, bowel cancer.
Right.
Or they think they've got, like...
This sounds to me like an instructional manual for a doctor, though, for a GP, as to how to deal with these people.
Well, I think it verges on the medical content of what it's all about.
I don't think it's got any relevance for day-to-day people.
But it does. I have access to all these sort of things, you see.
Right.
And that's why I'm ahead of the game now.
Right. So how can you spot one of these people in the street, then? Does it tell you?
Well, you don't spot them in the street. You spot them in their attitude to life.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody, I don't feel well, give me a tablet. People who take I don't take tablets.
You take 27 tablets a day.
I do for my heart. I mean, they're heart tablets. Yeah. But what I'm saying is...
I don't take tablets.
No.
Just the 27.
I know people who, for instance, when they get a mild...
How can you say you don't take tablets?
Hang on.
Total self-delusion.
Hang on. I know people who, when they get a mild headache, take a tablet for it. They take a Nurofen.
Well, they're still taking
like
26 less than you're taking.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, why would you say, I think I'll take
if you have a headache, you take a headache tablet. Why wouldn't you?
I know people who, when they get muscle pain and all that, they take an arthritic tablet or something like that. I mean, why do you take tablets? You know, you're knackering your kidneys and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
shouldn't do it.
Well, you can answer your own question, can't you?
Yeah, but mine are vital to keeping me alive.
Are they?
If I didn't take my tablets...
Have you ever forgotten to take them?
You regularly forget to take them, and then you have to sort of then span out the gaps in between the next time you take them.
Well, how can you forget to take them if you've got to take 27 tablets every single day?
Well, if you're very, very busy.
Yeah.
If you're very busy. I mean, for instance, I could set out in the car at 10:30 in the evening, heading for TalkSport Studios, and halfway here think, oh, my God, I had so much to do today, dealing with a few property leases. I was putting together some stuff for the show tonight.
And do you take them all at once, or do you take them through the course of the day, then?
You take them morning and mid-afternoon.
Right.
Doesn't
that have to change if your work pattern changes, though?
Well, it does a bit, yeah.
So now that you're working at night, you take them during the night?
No, because then I'd have to bring in this huge box of stuff in here. And I came into work once and I'd forgotten to take them all together, and I had to go to the chemist on the corner. Had a terrible row with the guy. I said, if you don't give me those tablets, mate, you don't give me those Carvedilol that I need, I could drop dead on the spot here. You want to be responsible for my health? And in the end, he gave me some tablets.
He probably thought you were a hypochondriac.
Well, he might have thought I was, but I mean, I had a certificate to prove
what certificate?
I had a certificate to prove that only 1/3 of my heart works. So
can we see that? Have you got it with you?
No.
Do you carry it around with you?
No, I don't.
You pull it out at certain times.
No.
Try to impress women.
No. It was in the early days, and I felt it was necessary to take with me in case I suddenly dropped dead, and they wanted to identify who I was and why I died.
So where have you put the certificate now, then?
Well, it's in a safe place at home.
Is it?
And what it is, it's a list of the medicines I take, so that if I get into critical condition, some paramedic can suddenly whip off on his bike and go and get them from the pharmacist.
Don't you think you should be still carrying it around then?
No, I feel confident enough in my own ability to lead as normal a life as I can with only 1/3 of my heart working. It's as simple as that.
Extraordinary stuff.
Well, you've got to get on with it, haven't you?
Well, we're very nearly out of time again, so you're not going to start telling me another story, are you?
No, I'm not going to tell you another story. All I'm going to say is that I do find it despicable of you to mock and deride the health issues that I raise, because I could be saving people's lives, whereas you...
No, I think you're unnecessarily alarmist.
You simply don't care less. Actually, there was something I was going to show you, actually.
Was there?
And the reason I want to show you this is because I'm going to shut your fat mouth about my education,
There's no need to be rude.
There is... Well, you've been so rude to me. You've been so rude to me. Now, Tesco's are in terrible trouble.
Are they?
They're in terrible trouble.
They're closing supermarkets, aren't they?
Well, they're closing a few of those express shops. I think they are closing supermarkets. But anyway, I take no joy in Tesco being in trouble because, of course, I'm a friend of Sir Terence Leahy, who was the man...
He doesn't work there anymore.
He doesn't work there anymore, but he actually built the Tesco empire, OK?
He's an Everton fan as well.
He is an Everton fan. I've sat next to him...
By coincidence.
Yes, I have sat next to him in the box at Goodison.
What have you got all these bits of paper in front of you?
No, only because I read something in the paper today, and it's very, very interesting, right? The gentleman who was taken over as the new boss of Tesco was educated at the University of Trent.
The University of the Trent?
In the days when it was called Trent Polytechnic.
Really? So he's doing what you do then?
Well, it's actually said on his CV, educated and all that kind of... And honest to God, it actually says Trent Polytechnic. And I thought, well, that proves everything. My alma mater...
So it says Trent Polytechnic?
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't say University of the Trent.
Well, no, but I mean, I don't know why.
So that doesn't prove anything. It proves that you're the one that's actually telling the porkies, doesn't it?
No, it also proves, though, doesn't it? It proves that I went to a outstanding academic establishment, right?
Do you think he chucked in his course after a year?
Right,
like you did?
Here they are.
Oh, you've got the paper there.
Boss Dave Lewis, right? Boss Dave Lewis.
Did he study urban estate planning just like you?
Hang on here, right, there you go. See at the top there, it's got his life first thing. Read it. Go on, read it to the
name,
listeners.
Dave Lewis, job, CEO Tesco, born Yorkshire, 1965, education, Trent Poly and Harvard Business School.
Thank you. There can't be
many people that went from Trent Poly
to Harvard Business School.
Yeah, but he would have finished his course, you see.
Harvard,
if you turned up at Harvard Business School and said, can I do an MBA in business, please, because I quite fancy becoming the head of Tesco's. And they said, what have you got as a qualification? And you said, well, I went to Trent Poly for a year to study urban estate management, and I dropped out because I decided I couldn't do the exams.
Harvard Business School, one of the leading academic institutions in the world.
He wouldn't get in.
Where did he get his founding education to qualify for that? Trent Polytechnic.
I'm just happy that you
finally... I went. My alma mater.
I'm just happy you finally admitted that it's called Trent Polytechnic.
No, it was. It's not called now. It's called University of the Trent now.
But that's where you went. The
only reason I left was because I saw a future elsewhere after winning the Trent Polytechnic snooker competition on the day. Excuse me.
They look for that when you go to Harvard.
Excuse me.
They go, did you win any snooker competitions in order to get into the business school?
I did, and I was beaten in the final of the darts competition as well. Yeah, in the same week.
What a fantastic rounded education you must have had.
I got a 180 in the final.
Yeah, that doesn't mean like you got a 2-1 at university or anything.
But I mean, believe me, I did not waste my time at the University of the Trent.
No, of course you didn't. Mike Porky Parry finally admits that he went to Trent Polytechnic.
I've done you a big favour.
Have you?
Now, you have a busy life, OK?
Yeah.
You have your children and all that kind of stuff, and, you have to run up and down to the coast and all that. I have got you dry shampoo.
Dry shampoo?
Dry shampoo. Have you ever seen this before?
I think I saw it in the 70s.
No. Now, it's obvious you can't get in and out the shower every day, and I'm not condemning you for that.
Yeah, I do. What do you mean I don't get in and out the shower every day? Did you see that story the other day about how few women actually have a shower every day?
Some of them every 3 days. Yeah. Now, the management here have expressed their concern to me before about the length of your hair.
Have they?
And, of course, because it's long hair, it gets greasy. I'm going to give you a spray of this.
I wash my hair every day.
Yeah, look. Let me just try it on your hair.
Why are you going to spray it?
Yeah.
I don't want to be sprayed with that stuff.
No.
Get away from me.
Honestly.
Get away from me.
It's good.
You maniac.
No,
I'm going to hit you with it in a second. Get off.
No.
Get off.
It's good for you.
No, it's not. It smells horrible as well.
No.
It smells like some kind of horrendous, cheap deodorant.
No, you leave that for a couple of minutes and then we'll get a comb and comb
the microphone's over there.
And your hair will be as good as new.
No,
really.
I don't want it to be as good as new, thanks. I just washed it a few hours ago.
No, will it be better now? It's even better. How
much did you pay for that then?
Well, I'm not telling you.
Or did you find it in the boot of your car?
No, it's good for you.
Let me have a look at it.
Well, okay.
Let me see it.
They are.
Who makes it?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Into Style Dry Shampoo.
Yeah.
Refreshes between washes.
You see, now your hair looks better.
That's ridiculous.
Your hair looks better.
It says it's highly flammable as well.
Well, in that case, don't set fire to it.
No, I won't.
There was a scene, wasn't there, a James Bond film where he set fire to a can and...
I don't think it was a can of dry shampoo.
No, I don't think it was.
Where would you even find something like this?
Well, you find it in, drugstores, don't you?
Where did you find it? Go on, be honest. Where did you get it?
I found it on Loren's desk.
You found it on Loren's desk?
Yeah, but I thought it was good for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's actually for a woman, then, is what you're telling me?
No, it's for anybody. Hair doesn't have a gender, does it? Hair is hair.
Hair
doesn't
is hair?
say man's hair or woman's hair,
I think your hair is...
Give it back to me. If a
woman had hair like yours, I think she'd probably go and get it all shaved off.
No, I don't think she would at all. But, I mean, look, your hair looks better.
Well, I haven't looked at it yet.
Actually, I'm afraid we've discoloured your headphones. They're all white.
Yeah, that's not very good, is it?
No,
You might have to pay for that. There might be some damage.
Anyway, look, I was only thinking of yourself. I thought it would help you smarten up and all that kind of stuff.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed.
Right,
Coming from you as a man who is the most stylish man I think I've ever seen in my life, that means an awful lot.
By the way, talking about sprays and all that,
yeah.
I saw a piece saying that there's a device now that you get out of a spray can.
Yeah.
You can spray your phone, your mobile phone, and literally make it waterproof.
Really?
You could spray your mobile phone.
Is it like a sort of plastic skin?
No. Well, I don't know what it is. Well, yes, I suppose it is, yeah. But you could spray that phone. You could then stick it down your swimming shorts, your swimming trunks, and jump into a swimming pool with it, and you could use it underwater.
I think if you're using your phone while you're swimming, I think you've probably got a problem.
I think you've got a problem, and I just use that as an analogy. But
although there are people who say that they want now a pocket in their swimming trunks in order to take the phone with them because they don't want to leave it by the side of the pool in case somebody nicks it.
Absolutely right, and that proves that you can make phones now completely waterproof.
This stuff costs 18 quid a tube, though.
That's right, yeah. Now, do you know what it's...
Undetectable nano coating for smartphones.
That's right, and do you know what it's mostly used for?
What?
You won't believe this, and it's a bit distasteful. The vast majority of phones which are disabled instantly are because people drop them into the toilet.
Yes, I know.
Because they're standing there, you know, and they drop them, bang, and as soon as it hits water, it's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this, actually, although I'm not sure who would want to recover a phone from a lavatory and use it again.
Well, you want to recover your phone, so at the very least you get everything off it.
Well, you get the SIM card out of it, I suppose, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway...
Have you ever destroyed a phone by accident?
I've never destroyed a phone. I've never left a phone in a pub or anywhere else. I've never lost a phone.
Yeah.
I've never misplaced a phone. I've never had a problem with a phone. I have been immaculate. You know, in the early days, you know, they used to give us these bricks, like in Fleet Street, you know. And the thing was...
Well, they were indestructible, those things.
Yeah, they're indestructible, but highly losable. So what I'm saying is that they weren't your phones. This is the problem.
Right.
So the office would have 3 of these bricks, and when they sent a reporter out on a job, they say, right, take one of the mobile phones, and you'd think like you were at the height of technology. Yeah. The only problem was... the phone stopped you from moving very quickly because it weighed so much. And some of them weren't just like a brick.
And you couldn't put it in your pocket. It was too big.
Couldn't put it in your pocket at all.
But when I first started working in London, mobile phones were very much in the kind of in the beginning of their infancy. And that was the only thing that they had. But they were starting to get new ones, and some of the photographers were trying to destroy them because the only way they could get a new phone was to get rid of the old one. What? And they used to drive over them, they used to drop them off buildings, they used to do all kinds of stuff with them.
What were they trying to wreck the phones for?
Because then they could get a new one which was slightly smaller and slightly smarter.
Sounds mad.
But they literally couldn't destroy them. I mean, I watched a few of them driving over them in cars backwards and forwards, and they were still fine.
A bunch of mad people.
Dropping them off the top of buildings, and they wouldn't be destroyed.
How destructive is that? That's terrible.
Well, that's what happens when you give people stuff for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They weren't your phone. So anyway, there was a fantastically good-looking lady reporter, who joined us in the pub, The Harrow, which is behind the Daily Mail in those days, wasn't it? The Daily Mail pub down Tudor Street, wasn't it? And she came in, and she was so good-looking, this girl. She actually... She went out with rock stars, she went out with a member of the group, the Queen.
Yeah,
and
the Queen?
Not the Queen, Queen, and this sort of thing. But she used to get incredibly inebriated, and she lost at least 3 phones. She just left them in pubs. She forgot she'd had them, even though they were the size of a brick and all that kind of stuff. She rang me up one morning and said, "Oh, hello," and she said, "Did you meet me last night when I got out of my car, or did you try and walk me back to my car?" I said, "No, why?" She said, "Can't find it." And she'd driven into town, right, and she'd been on some job, comes down, decided to come drink the Harrow. She parked a car, and that car was never found.
Maybe it was stolen.
Well, it might have been, I don't know. She parked it somewhere, but the thing is, she was too embarrassed to report it to the police because then they'd have to say, "Well, where'd you leave it?" And she had to say,
she didn't know where.
"I can't remember." And as it was an office car, it wasn't her responsibility.
Right.
So I think she did tell the office, I think it must have been stolen.
Company cars are quickly becoming a thing of the past now, aren't they? People don't have them anymore.
Very much so, very much so.
And they're not doing away with them in France or something like that?
Doing away with them in France altogether. France, they've got something like, just for the state employees, about £750 million worth of cars.
Really?
Unbelievable. Everybody gets a car in France,
Because didn't they stop doing it here because it became a kind of tax liability? So if you had a company car, you started to get taxed as if it was at the higher rate or something like that. So they stopped giving them away.
I think there were two reasons, right? One, definitely the tax, it became so expensive to take one. But secondly, over the 30 years since you and I moved back full-time from America, well, not 30 years, 20 years, something like that, London's become so much more like New York, where a car is a liability in London.
Yeah.
It's a liability.
Do you know what
in
I was told
London.
actually the other day? When I was coming home from the Hen and Chickens the other night, I was in a black cab,
right.
And I was saying to this guy, "Why is it that at midnight there's all these traffic jams in the centre of London?" And he said, "Because of these Uber cars that they've now got running around all over the place. These
taxis that you just text."
Yeah, right. Because you've got an app that you can use. There's something like 7,000 of these cars in London. And he said that's partly why there's so much congestion now, because all of these Uber cars are driving around all over the place.
What, looking for work?
7,000 extra cars that didn't used to be there.
Sorry, are they in addition to A, the black cabs, and B, the established minicab firms like Addison Lee?
Yeah. They're all on top of that.
So these guys just suddenly become an Uber taxi driver, do they?
Yeah.
And do you need to be licensed or anything?
I don't think they're quite as hot on that, certainly not as hot as black cabs are, anyway.
Well, at this time of the year, when all the budgets are wrapping up for the financial year, the end of March, there are so many roadworks going on, it's unbelievable. Coming in tonight from...
It's ridiculous.
Coming in tonight from...
There's a new temporary traffic light every single night now.
Yeah, there is, I totally agree. But all of Brixton's up now, and you come down, you've got a
Why don't you just come a different way?
Well, because you don't know what nights they're going to do and what nights they're not. They never give you any advance warning.
Every time you mention Brixton, there's a problem. I think you should go round Brixton.
Well, if I did, it would be a much longer journey. It's the most direct route into town, and you've got to take direct routes, otherwise you're burning up fossil fuels in the in your car, which are supposed to be running out, although, of course, they're not, and that's why petrol's now so cheap. So much petrol in the world now, we're never going to be able to use all the petrol in the world. And now the frackers, in fact, I saw a very well-known actor who stars in a very big production at the moment get out of his car the other day. It didn't see him get out of the car. Saw a picture of him getting out of his car, right? And there's a sign on the back saying, "Don't mention the F word." So you think, oh, that's an actor who's actually going for self-censorship, that the horrible F word shouldn't be used in broadcasting. No, the F word was fracking.
Oh, dear.
Why do the acting profession get involved in so many political issues?
Well, because they tend
have
to be...
a massive lobby.
Well, they tend to be left-wingers, don't they? That's why.
I don't know what they are. They're all very wealthy, most of them. They get involved in all these issues to stop the world moving forward. You know, they want wind farms instead of fracking. Fracking would halve the price of fuel. Wind farms triple the price of fuel. I wish they'd just get that into their heads. I just don't get it. I simply don't get it.
Especially now that Putin's going to stop all the gas coming to us.
Exactly.
That's another
story.
He's
going to turn off the gas pipes.
That's another story.
Yeah.
He's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. We've got the Porky quiz coming up very shortly. This is TalkSport.
Oui. What I don't know about Chester, mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a postage stamp because, remember, I lived there, I was brought up there, I was a newspaper reporter there, I was a student of the history of the place.
Right.
I mixed with a lot of people who were top knobs in Chester for a long time. Yes.
Well,
so I think I'll be in very good shape there.
It's time for the Porky quiz, and as you've just been hearing, Mike Parry is, of course, an expert on the city of Chester.
Indeed.
You'll know exactly who sang that song, then, won't you? Because they're a band from Chester.
There aren't any bands from Chester.
You're actually very nearly correct.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any bands from Chester. This one is about the only one.
Are they an indie band?
Hey?
An indie band.
Indie band? Well, I suppose you might call them that.
A bit like that, yeah. But they never had a hit record.
Manson is their name.
Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Charles.
Yeah.
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Like Mad. Yeah.
Something like that. Now, as ever, these questions have been compiled by independent quiz masters.
Yeah, sure, yeah. You had no influence on them whatsoever.
None at all, no, as ever. If you happen to get one correct, you will hear this sound.
His sister looked after elephants at Chester Zoo, where I was brought up.
And if you get one wrong, you will hear this.
What I don't know about Chester, mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a postage stamp.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. What is the population of Chester?
Population of Chester, when I lived and grew up there, was 60,000. But I believe it's now expanded because they built a lot of greenfield sites to about About 77,000.
Incorrect.
What I don't know about Chester, mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a postage stamp.
120,622.
That's utter rubbish.
Not rubbish.
No, that is utter rubbish.
That's the figure.
No, that takes in Greater Chester.
That's the figure.
No, that takes in places like Saltney and
That is the
Christleton.
figure.
No, that's wrong.
None
I'm
out of
sorry.
one.
No, that's completely inaccurate.
Question number 2.
The population of the city of Chester, I checked it this morning, is 77,000.
Question number 2.
No, I'm not accepting that.
What was the Roman name of the city?
Diva.
Hey?
Diva.
That's it?
Yeah, Diva.
I'll give you half a point
His
for that.
sister
Don't be
looked after
ridiculous.
elephants at Chester Zoo, where I was brought up.
It's 2 words.
No, it's not.
That's only the first word.
No, Diva. It was because we had the Diva Hospital. It was a mental hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
How extraordinary.
My father's mate worked there. He was a psychiatrist, but he was more mental than the people he was treating in the Diva.
The word is, there's 2 words.
It's not.
Diva and it's another word.
No, it's
so I'll
not.
give you half a point.
No.
The answer is Diva Victrix.
No, it was Diva.
Yes, it is.
All Victrix means is City of Diva.
Well, that's the name.
No, it's not. It's not. You don't call Newcastle the City of Newcastle. You call it Newcastle.
You said you wanted a quiz on the City of Chester.
Yes.
That's the quiz.
No, the name under Rother Owens was Diva. And
half a point out of 2.
That's another crooked, gerrymandered answer.
Question number 3.
Yeah.
What is the telephone dialing code of Chester?
It's... No, I'm just thinking aloud. 0244...
Thinking aloud?
Yeah, or derivation... what's it called? Derivation of...
Derivation of?
Derivation of 0244 27049. These days, it must be 01244.
Correct.
His sister looked after elephants at Chester Zoo, where I was brought up. What a...
Look how happy you are.
I haven't dialed anybody in Chester for 30 years.
Well, you haven't got any friends, have
That's genius. Yeah, go on.
1.5 out of 3. Question number 4. The Countess of Chester Hospital was opened in 1984. Who was the Countess of Chester then?
In 1984?
Yes.
It was a member of the royal family.
Well, she was the Countess of Chester.
Yeah, but she doesn't have to be a member of the royal family. The Countess of Chester. Do you know what? It might even have been Diana Princess. What year was it? What year?
1984.
1984. No, hang on. 1984. 1984 was the year that Everton won the FA Cup at Wembley. So, Diana... When did Diana come? Do you know what? I think it was... It could have been Princess Michael of Kent. Only thinking aloud. Princess Michael of Kent. Could have been Diana. Or it could have been... Right, I'm saying it's Diana, Princess of Wales.
Correct.
His sister looked after elephants at Chester Zoo, where I was brought up.
Technically, it was Diana Spencer, so actually I might only give you half a point for that.
Rubbish.
She wasn't the Princess of Wales.
Rubbish. She was the Princess of Wales.
Question number 5.
They got married in 1981, you oaf.
I'll let you off. Question number 5.
Don't let me off, I got it right.
Who is the MP for Chester?
Oh, right. That's a guy called... Now, in my day, it was Peter Morrison. And he's the MP who's been unmasked as potentially a wicked and evil man.
Is he?
Right, now then, these days, I tell you what, it's the same name as... I know who it is. It's Mr. Mosley.
First name?
I think it's Stephen, but it's definitely Mr. Mosley.
Correct.
His sister looked after elephants at Chester Zoo, where I was brought up. I knew that because of Edward Mosley, you see.
Right, 3.5 out of 5.
Woo-wee! I'm
Number
flying,
6.
Flying.
When was
and by the way, the first question was completely erroneous, and the second question I got right, Diva.
Right,
go on.
You are a diva. Question number 6. When was the Battle of Chester?
Ooh, Battle of Chester, Civil War. Nah, you might catch me out here. Battle of Chester. I'll say 1341.
Incorrect.
What I don't know about Chester, mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a postage stamp.
It took place in the 7th century.
7th century?
7th century.
There weren't any battles in the 7th century
Well,
around Chester.
are you just going to say all these answers are wrong then?
No. I'll concede that I was thinking of the wrong battle.
3.5 out of 6. Question number 7. Who's Chester's most famous son?
Chester's most famous son?
Yeah.
Well, like in what sphere?
Well, who's the most famous person from Chester?
You mean apart from me?
Apart from you. You can say you if you wish.
No, hang on. The most famous person ever from Chester, in my view, would be... it could be
I have to hurry you.
Yeah, OK. It could be Russ Abbott, it could be. I'm only thinking aloud. Russ Abbott was...
you can't keep giving me answers and looking at me for a reaction.
Hang on.
I'll take that as your answer.
No, I know it could be. It could be Ian Blair, the former Metropolitan Police Commissioner. What I don't know about Chester, mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a postage stamp.
Here's a clue.
It's Daniel Craig.
Yep. Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig came from Hull Lane.
He was born in Liverpool Road, apparently.
Liverpool Road, that's right, yeah.
1968.
Right. But, I mean, that's subjective.
No,
I would say Ian Blair.
You think Ian Blair's more famous than Daniel Craig?
I also think that...
I don't think so.
You know, go on.
No time for any more arguing. 3.5 out of 7. Question number 8. Can you name one of Chester's twin towns?
Like where? Like on the continent?
That's where the twin towns usually are.
Okay.
Or anywhere in the world, if you like.
Okay. One of Chester's twin towns is Nijmegen in Holland.
Who?
Nijmegen.
No, it isn't. Nijmegen. Is that your answer?
Nijmegen.
Is that your answer?
That's my answer. What I don't know about Chester, mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a postage
stamp. You could have had Senigallia in Italy, you could have had Lorac in Germany, and you could have had Song in France. So you got none out of
yeah, but another bum question. Now, what's that got to do with Chester?
Well, it's the twin town of Chester.
No, it's nothing to do with Chester itself. I want to concentrate on the physical,
Well, you said you knew everything about Chester.
I do. I know loads of things about
3.5
Chester.
out of 8.
No, that's
Question
that's
number
wrong.
9.
That's 5 out of 8.
Question number 9. What is the name of the town's American football team?
They haven't got an American football team.
Is that your answer?
Okay, they're called They're called the Cestrians. The Cestrians. Chester Cestrians.
Incorrect.
What I don't know about Chester, mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a postage stamp. That's another bum question.
They're called the Chester Romans.
Chester Romans.
Well, you know everything there is to know about Chester.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I don't know how long that American football team's been around. Where do they play? There's no American football field in Chester.
Well, there is.
Another bum question.
3.5 out of 9. Question number 10. Yeah. Final question.
Yeah.
See if you can get yourself up to 4 out of 10.
Like
as
6 out of 10,
the
you
8
mean?
out of 10 that you
7
predicted.
out of 10.
A.S. Hornby was born in the city in 1898.
Right.
What was he famous for?
He invented the model railway. What I don't know about Chester,
Incorrect.
mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a
That's a terrible guess.
Rubbish.
I knew you'd think that. He was actually an English grammarian and lexicographer. So he was one of the first people to produce a dictionary. Well, being a man of words, I thought you would have known that.
What a load of
one
rubbish.
of the most famous lexicographers of the entire British history nation.
Well, that is a bum. That's a bum question.
So I'm sorry to tell you.
Questions 1 and 2 were bum answers. I am claiming 8 out of 10.
Yeah, well, you could claim what you like. You got 3.5 out of 10.
No, I didn't.
As usual.
No, I didn't. That's rubbish.
Failed in the
damn cheat.
Topic of your own hometown.
Listen. You're a one.
All of these questions are about Chester.
You're a one-pony trick here, or one-trick pony. Because I'm telling you, the audience know. They know the scurrilous scumbag you are when it comes to this quiz, and they can spot you a mile off, mate.
3.5 out of 10,
Rubbish.
as I predicted. What would you like to be quizzed on next week?
8 out of 10. 8
what would
out
you
of
like
10.
to be quizzed on next week?
You've
got time to think about it.
I'm going to think about it because I'm going to try and find a subject that you literally cannot bend the rules on.
Well, you researched this one as well, didn't you?
No, I didn't research it.
Yes, you did. You looked it up this morning.
No, I didn't. I didn't have to.
Well, maybe you should have
done. The population, you got completely wrong.
Not true.
Diva was the name, and that's why
you got half a point for that.
The local hospital was called the Diva Hospital. The pub I used to drink in was called the Diva Hotel. It wasn't called the Diva something hotel. It was a Diva Hotel. You are, in my view, a disgrace. You know, you're just a filthy scumbag, honestly you are.
3.5 out of 10. As ever, very, very consistent from Mr. Parry. More coming up next.
What I don't know about Chester, mate, you couldn't write down on the back of a postage stamp.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can. Talk Sport. This weekend on Talk Sport.
The throw-in is headed away by Clichy. A missed kick from Company. Fired back in by Coutinho! And Liverpool lead by 3 goals to 2!
Liverpool versus Manchester City.
And it's come from the hammer of a right foot of Yaya Toure.
This is the Premier League at its best.
Giroud is there, and from a standing position he gets above this stand and guides the ball past Tim Howard.
Arsenal versus Everton.
They slip through the legs of the goalkeeper. It's 2-0 Everton. Terrific atmosphere, and the whole game's live.
Full match commentary of Chelsea versus Tottenham.
And Willian has found Hazard. He swirled away from the defender, played a 1-2 with Drogba, and finished brilliantly through the legs of Hugo Lloris to give Chelsea the lead.
The Capital One Cup final.
Comes back to Harry Kane, and he pops in the rebound, and he does equalise for Tottenham Hotspur.
Talk Sport, we love it.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the Two Mites. There will be a podcast, of course, coming out a little bit later on. Mr. Parry, I hope you've got over your rather unfortunate outburst of foulness there.
No.
Because it always comes down to that.
You're disgusting cheat when it comes to that. You can't bear.
You're just a very bad loser.
No. You can't bear for me to, to get the upper hand. You really can't.
Baggy says here on the text at 1089, he says, if Porky wrote the questions to the quiz himself, he would still get 3 out of 10.
No, I wouldn't.
I think you would.
I'm telling you, you got the population answer all wrong. I got the diva right. I should 7 out of 10.
Well, even if you got 1.5 more, you would have had 5 out of 10.
No, I would have had
it.
7. I would have had 7.
You got 3.5.
And then the last one was just a damn nuisance. Who is Hornby? And you say he's a lexicographer or something.
Well, surely as a student of words, which you claim to be, somebody who's made his living out of writing words, out of speaking words, you would know about a man from your own home city.
And,
he was one of the foremost kind of producers of the first dictionary
in
modern times.
You only think that Daniel Craig's the most famous man from Chester. As far as I'm concerned, it was Russ Abbott.
Well, I'm sorry.
Russ Abbott of the Black Abbots and a famous comedian for the last 30 years.
I think if you went to any country in the world and said, do you know who this guy is, and showed them a picture of Daniel Craig, they would say, yeah, that's James Bond. If you showed them a picture of Russ Abbott, they'd go, who?
No, I'm not sure about that.
I think you'll find that's correct. Now, you've got some musical knowledge to impart to us, because apparently there's a new gadget coming out, and this may be something that you're going to buy, right? Well, it's a Pono.
It's a Pono, and it's developed by Neil Young. Now, you know Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young?
I do.
What was your favourite song that they made?
Their favourite album, my favourite album of theirs was Deja Vu, I think.
Yeah.
Not their greatest hits, which is probably the one you've got.
And the song, which, honestly...
Our House, maybe.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house.
No, that's madness.
That's madness. How does theirs go?
Our house. You've now completely put me off the song.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard.
House.
Life used to be so hard.
Very, very, very
Please
fine
don't sing
house. It. Well, my favourite of all time of theirs, and I didn't like a lot of the stuff. It was too folksy. But all I loved was "Do You Want to Ride Me on the Marrakesh Express?"
Do you want to ride me?
Wasn't it that? Wasn't that?
No.
What was it? Do you want to ride me?
No, it's not. Do you want to ride
Express?
me on the Marrakesh Express?
What is it then?
It's do you want to go on the Marrakesh Express? It's not. Do you want to ride me? Anyway, that's for sure.
But Donny has a great record. That
is quite a good record. Yeah.
You know, it was all about the hippies drug.
I think it's don't you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express?
Don't you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express?
Because everybody used to go to Marrakesh in those days to buy their hashish.
It was height of the summer of love, wasn't it? And all these dropout deadbeat hippies wearing caftans all got on the cross-channel ferry to
Marrakesh.
No, not to Marrakesh. The cross-channel ferry actually goes to Dunkirk.
Yes, I know that.
Or Calais, and then they'd all buy these old buses, and they would literally drive to Marrakesh. This is it. It's brilliant. Listen to this.
I've got some bad news for you, though.
Yeah,
it's got nothing to do with Neil Young.
Yes, it has.
No, it's Crosby, Stills and Nash.
What, this was just Crosby, Stills and Nash?
Yes.
Oh, well. Well, anyway, all right, that's great. But a great record, anyway. And they used to drive in these buses to Marrakesh and then get stoned out of their minds and die by going swimming on the beaches in Marrakesh and never surfacing. But Neil Young, right, he made a lot of good music.
He did.
What was his most famous song?
Well, you could have Old Man, perhaps.
Old Man?
Yeah. Old Man, Look at My Life.
There's a picture there of his...
Harvest was his album.
Harvest, his album, yeah. Oh, I know that one.
Heart of Gold.
Heart of Gold. Didn't he do a lot of stuff with Carole King as well?
Not particularly, no.
I thought he did, yeah, I thought he did.
He had a lot of sort of interactions with people.
Anyway, the point is...
You don't really know much about Neil Young, do you?
Not really, no. They weren't my favourite group. Teach Your Children Well. Did he do that?
Yeah, that was on Deja Vu, yeah.
Your children well.
Yeah, that was Crosby,
and
Stills,
you
Nash.
will tell...
No, I don't sing it.
Right, now the point is... He reckons, and this is he must be a brilliant man as well as a great musician, because he reckons that the music he made in those days is not properly enhanced by the digitalisation of music in the modern era.
Well, you see, that's why in a lot of places now people are reverting to vinyl. You know, the hipsters of this world. There's all sorts of record shops growing up all over the place because people have said for years, actually, since the advent of CDs, that the depth and the richness of music is no longer replicated because they don't have the stylus on the plastic anymore.
Why does Jimmy Page go around remastering the Led Zeppelin LPs and therefore digitalising them if he's disimproving the sound?
Well, I suppose what he's doing is improving them from what they were when they were just made into CDs and when they were just released digitally, so they're better than that. But I don't know what his view would be on LPs. What are you doing?
I've just thrown my pens all over the place. I have a collection of pens here to make different marks on comments and to check on your cheating and all that. Now, what I was going to say was, this thing, what's it called?
It's called a Pono, yeah.
Now, he's devised this.
It's basically like a sort of, it's like an
iPod.
Like a music player.
Like a music player, that's good. It's shaped like a Toblerone.
Is it?
Yeah, it's triangular.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a picture of it here.
It's a triangular cylinder, if you see what I mean, if you can have a triangular cylinder.
You can't.
And he's gone and spoke to his mates in Silicon Valley, you know, like experts and all that, to produce a machine which enhances the music as he originally recorded it for those fans of Neil Young and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
He's calling
that's a brilliant thing to do.
He's calling it, and I suppose this is the best way to describe it, high-res audio. So it's a bit like having HD TV as opposed to ordinary TV and watching it in better quality. But I suppose the problem would be, apart from the fact that it's about £300, the problem would be, how do you know with what music you load onto it, whether that music is compatible with it?
Well, I don't know. But you say £300, but this document I've given you here, which is an analysis of it, says that similar machines which do other things for other music cost £1,000.
That's true.
So apparently it's a bargain. Listen, talking about
music... Are you going to buy one then?
No, I'm not going to buy one. I'm not very fond of Neil Young. Well, the reason I'm telling you
you're not very fond of Neil Young. You just told me you loved Neil Young.
No, I didn't. I said I loved the record Marrakesh Express,
which he's not on.
And I quite like Teach Your Children Well.
Yeah, which he is on.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I mean, Marrakesh Express is my favourite one.
You could buy me one of these for Christmas if you want. Or my birthday. My birthday's before that.
Oh, is it? When's your birthday?
Yeah, it's in August.
In August. Well, we think about it in August.
How come you don't know when my birthday is?
Because I couldn't care less about your birthday, you cheating individual. Right, now then, I tell you what I want to tell you about. Talking about music, right? This is straight on. This is a direct link to it. Look at this advert I'm going to show you from a popular colour magazine of a popular Sunday paper, the one bottom right, and tell our audience what it says.
It says, Sinatra sings Sinatra. Frank Sinatra Jr. with orchestra. Glasgow Royal Concert Hall, Birmingham Symphony Hall, London Royal Albert Hall.
Well, what a contract that is.
Bridgewater Hall.
What a contract that is.
Why?
But Frank Sinatra's son is going round posing as Frank Sinatra.
Well, it's Frank Sinatra Jr.
Yeah, I know.
That's his name.
Yeah, but he's not Frank Sinatra.
No, he's not.
He's not Frank Sinatra Jr. So he's getting people to come along to these
don't
concerts.
Buy a ticket then.
Well, I'm not going to buy a ticket. I don't want to go and see some guy who is the son of Sinatra. That's like saying
son of Elvis.
Well, yeah, it is.
Son of Neil Young.
It is. I mean, listen. Can you imagine if John Lennon's son? Sean.
Yeah,
no, not
imagine
Sean.
if he made music and recorded it and made people buy it.
The first one, John Lennon's son was Julian Lennon. If he filled up the Albert Hall and said, Julian Lennon plays Lennon, nobody would go.
Has he never done any of his dad's songs?
I don't think he ever has. I don't think he ever has, honestly.
I'm sure if Julian Lennon was to perform a night of his father's songs, people would go in their droves.
No, rubbish, they wouldn't, because it's not the real thing. And I think this guy, cashing in on his father's name, Sinatra sings Sinatra.
Well, he must be a singer.
I mean, well, I've never heard of him, have you?
I didn't realise he was a singer, no.
Have you ever heard of, that number one hit by Frank Sinatra Jr.?
No, but there's loads of singers out there that you haven't heard of.
Have you ever come across in New York or in London, Radio City Music Hall tonight starring Frank Sinatra Jr.?
Well, he's playing the Albert Hall.
No, yeah, but he's only playing the Albert Hall because he's got part of his name is Frank Sinatra.
Well, surely...
It's the junior bit which people a lot of people will think this is Frank Sinatra.
No, they won't.
They will.
Don't be ridiculous.
A lot of older people will forget that Frank Sinatra's dead. They will. They'll have forgotten.
They will not forget.
They'll have forgotten that Frank Sinatra died.
I don't think there's any chance of that.
And they'll go in, right, and they'll get the popcorn, they'll sit down, and then when he comes on, they'll say, he's put a bit of weight on, because this guy looks real fat. He's got a real fat face, hasn't he?
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, he has.
Absolute rubbish.
And they'll then start thinking...
Do you think when he sings I Did It My Way, he'll sing I Did It His Way?
I Did It His Way. That's a very good one, that. Yeah.
Start spreading the news.
My father is dead.
I don't know why you've taken against this guy. Have a listen to this, anyway.
Part of it, New York, New York.
Are you saying nobody can... Don't sing. I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah,
Are you saying nobody could replicate this?
No, of course they can't. Nobody can.
Why not?
Well,
what's so different about this?
It's utterly unique. You can't have Frank Sinatra's voice. He should start that song, as I said.
As you said.
As I said. How does it start doing? Let's start breaking the news.
Start spreading the news.
Start spreading the news.
Don't sing it.
My father is dead.
Do you know who's singing
I'm
this?
Standing on stage instead. I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not bad. But do you know who this is?
Yeah, this is Frank Sinatra.
No, it isn't.
Who do you claim it is?
It's Frank Sinatra Jr.
Rubbish.
It is.
That's rubbish.
A brand new start of it.
What am I looking at? Rubbish.
If I can.
There he is, he's singing.
Yeah, but you know it's not the real thing.
Anywhere it's up.
Well, this is his voice.
No, I don't believe that.
Maybe you should go and see him.
I think he's miming. I reckon he's miming there. He's obviously miming.
Obviously miming.
He's obviously miming.
It's a very different. It's a very different sort of sound to the voice. Actually, if you knew anything about music, you'd be able to tell that.
I think it's ridiculous. And the other thing is, I told you last week, didn't I? There's already a Sinatra show in town anyway.
Is there?
So he's competing with that.
Who's in that one then?
Sinatra the musical. I don't know, but this says exclusive.
Well, you're saying people shouldn't go to that either.
Well, they should go to that because this is billed as Sinatra, the man and his music at the London Palladium.
Sung by who?
Well, I don't know.
Somebody who's not even called Frank Sinatra.
But it's a
At least this guy's called Frank Sinatra.
It's a tribute show to Frank Sinatra, isn't it, you fool? It's like the old Mamma Mia. It's a tribute show to...
ABBA. That's why it was in the ABBA quiz, even though you complained about it.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, look, I do think that's right. Now, listen, before we go, I've got to tell you something.
Go on.
Because every weekend I buy a lottery ticket. I have discovered the way to guarantee how to win the lottery.
How come you haven't won it yet, then?
Well, there's one drawback. You've got to spend 14 million quid.
That's a bit of a drawback for most people.
It's true.
That's an awful lot. How many tickets is that?
It's 14 million. No, they're £2 now. It's 7 million.
7 million tickets.
So
I'm not sure you could even buy 7 million tickets.
There's a Romanian economist. His name is Stefan Mandel. He's written an 8,000-page algorithm which calculates every combination of numbers.
Right.
Then he found a betting syndicate to test it. He watched all the world's lotteries to find the crucial point at which the rollover prize becomes 3 times the cost of all the tickets.
So 21 million plus.
Exactly.
Right.
So this weekend is a rollover, you see, because nobody won in the last one.
Right.
In 1992, Mandel bought every one of 7 million $1 tickets in the Virginia State Lottery.
Yeah.
Which offered
and did he win?
Well, I'm about to tell you, which offered a rollover jackpot of $28 million. His syndicate was the sole jackpot winner.
Yeah.
Mandel is now retired from lotteries and lives on a South Pacific island, which he bought with his proceeds.
So he did win it then?
He did win it, but he was part of a syndicate, and so he got a quarter. He got 7 million.
Right.
That's not
bad. And presumably they put up the money for the other 7 million in the first place.
Exactly.
Well, maybe you should form a similar syndicate.
Absolutely. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find myself a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, going to win the lottery, and that means that next time you invite me into the studio to do a quiz here, I'll be able to say, no, push off, fatso, I had enough of your cheating.
Right.
OK?
Would you share any of your winnings with anybody else, or would you just keep it to yourself?
I'd keep it all for me.
I'm not surprised.
I wouldn't give a penny to anybody except some charities, and I wouldn't even tell anybody which the charities were.
You wouldn't be able to help yourself. You would not be able to help yourself.
I would turn round to the world and say, kiss my ass.
Really? How foul-mouthed you've been this morning. He is Mike Porky Parry. He'll be back, of course, on Tuesday morning at 2 a.m, at which point we'll do winners and losers. We'll have more Porky quiz action next week. We'll have more of Ask Porky as well. Yeah. And, of course, there is a podcast coming out at the 2 mics. And we'll be putting out some video stuff going out over the weekend, which may or may not be Gibbon-related. This is Talk Sport. We are the 2 mics.
Look at the light!
Don't forget to follow the 2 mics at the 2 mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for 2 Mics TV.
The only reason I left was because I saw a future elsewhere after winning the Trent Polytechnic snooker competition on the day. Excuse me.
They look for that when you go to Harvard.
Excuse me.
They go, did you win any snooker competitions in order to get into the business school?
I did, and I was beaten in the final of the darts competition as well. Yeah, in the same week.
What a fantastic rounded education you must have had.
I got a 180 in the final.
Yeah, that doesn't mean like you got a 2-1 at university or anything.
Well, I mean, believe me, I did not waste my time at University of the Trent.
No, of course you didn't.
If somebody, I don't feel well, give me a tablet. People take I don't take tablets.
You take 27 tablets a day.
I do for my heart. I mean, they're heart tablets, yeah,